Pinball's the best. I've been a fan since I was a little kid. Playing real pinball is an example of ingenious analog meets digital design, or if the table's old enough, ingenious analog mechanical design. Pinball's a great example of looking easy but being exceptionally difficult to design well. And the tables that do often showcase incredible engineering and a deep understanding of the ways that physicality makes things fun. The VCS has had pinball before Metgan's Multiball, but not like this. To date, video pinball has been mostly relegated to the cloud gaming service Antstream Arcade, which has several dozen Amiga-era pinball games that are all okay for their time. Atari 50th has Ruiner Pinball from the Jaguar, which is okay, but does things real pinball tables don't, like flying planes and expanded tables, and the game itself is kind of clunky and not particularly good. Atari Vault has the original 2600 video pinball, which, even at the time of its release, was a somewhat limited and poor pinball experience. So, a modern video pinball game has been on my and quite a few other VCS gamers' want lists since the start, and now Metgan Games has brought 3 tables to the console that play well and meet our pinball needs. Metgan's released 8 or so games on the VCS to date. He's talked about his process of releasing games fairly quickly at a regular pace to make the business side of developing for the VCS work. As a result, Metgan's Multiball utilizes an asset pack from the Unity store for most of its physics, sound, and general gameplay.
I couldn't do it properly by myself, so I find a kit to make things easier, like Pinball Creator. I can make something remotely working, but it would take me much longer and it wouldn't be like half professional as that kit can provide.
I'm a pinball obsessive, and I'm pretty picky when it comes to video pinball. I don't like the work of Pinball FX very much, for example, as the tables feel fake to me and their ball physics are okay but overly floaty. My all-time favorite developer for pinball is Farsight, who released the amazing Pinball Arcade on many platforms in addition to the Stern pinball game on Nintendo Switch. Farsight makes recreations of actual physical tables, and absolutely no one does video pinball better than they do. Playing a Farsight table plays exactly like playing the real physical thing, tricks, tilt tactics, and all. Metgan Games isn't a pinball expert, but the tables play great given the generalist nature of its game design. I did run into the occasional physics glitch, and the tables themselves are all pretty basic in terms of design, but playing Metgan's Multiball is a lot of fun, and I can forgive any technical inaccuracies. Missing here is the kind of complex goal-based scoring and design progression seen in physical tables since about 1980, such as spelling words to unlock missions, then getting the ball in a certain location to trigger additional game elements. Another missing element is a bonus score at the end of each ball. Additionally, unlike real pinball, the shoot again mechanic is very, very generous, meaning you get 2 balls for each round rather than 1. That means you actually have a guaranteed 6 rather than 3 balls per game. Losing balls from the side lanes is also only really possible on one of the 3 tables for the most part. I would also like to see instructions for the games, which is typical for pinball, so you know how to get the best score and what the various skill shots and table bits do. So, these tables are not perfect, and they do lack some of the finesse and design seen by people who know pinball very well. That said, when it comes down to it, everything works, it looks good, and the tables play well. Each of the 3 tables are themed for one of Metgan's games on the VCS. There's Doodle Taxi, Asteroid V Claw, and A Path to the Princess. I think Doodle Taxi is probably the weakest table of the 3 due to its relatively simple pinball design. There's not a lot going on compared to the other tables, and scoring is pretty low. Taxi reminds me of playing physical tables from the 1960s or so, although there's a back higher level without flippers and overall decent mechanics. Asteroid V Claw has more going on, with a side-level flipper section, colorful rotating bumpers, and multiple ramps including a cannon shot and winding metal paths. The best of the 3 is A Path to the Princess, and this table in particular features the absolute best video pinball available on the VCS. It's also the table with the most complex design mechanics, including regular ball capture and a pretty easy-to-get multi-ball. All 3 tables have their own separate leaderboards, and there's a 4th leaderboard that displays the shortest, worst games for fun. The flippers are controlled with either the L1 and R1 or L2 and R2 triggers, and you launch the ball with Y. Using the left stick allows for pretty good tilting, although I haven't really figured out what amount causes the flippers to freeze for a ball loss. I like that you can tilt in various directions like you would in real life, although the strength of each tilt is the same, unlike the light bumps to heavier knocks you see in real pinball play. Each table features 4 table views. The first 2 take a close to horizontal perspective with one more closely following the ball and the other raising your view to better see the back. My favorite view, and the view that's my preferred default, is the third one, which gives you a stable higher view without a lot of camera movement. The fourth view is a top-down one, which can be useful to better see what's on the table but is somewhat difficult to play. Another advantage of the third view is that the camera doesn't change when you get multiball, unlike the first 2 views, which switch to the top-down view when multiball is active. Probably the most important thing to get right with video pinball is extremely tight flipper control. Even a small delay can ruin the experience. Metgan's multiball is close to perfect in this regard, although you'll want to make sure your monitor or television has its low latency game mode setting for the best experience. For the first few days of the game's release, there was a significant input lag issue, but a patch quickly solved input lag for me. I mostly used the VCS monitor to play the game and didn't encounter issues either wired or wireless. Wired might be the best way to play though, especially if you've ever run into delay when wireless on your VCS. Metgan's Multiball is a fantastic game and is absolutely great to see here. I would love to see Metgan release more tables in the future, and I'd be happy to pick them up for the 3 tables for $10 price tag of this one. Given that we're unlikely to see Pinball FX or Farsight's games on the VCS, this is probably the best we're going to get. Since I'm such a pinball person, I'd put Metgan's Multiball in the top 20 VCS games. Pinball is quick, casual fun that mixes skill with a bit of luck, and even if these tables are more basic than more experienced in modern pinball design, they play great and are a lot of fun. Thanks for watching. I'll have more games in the coming weeks, including the VCS's first multiplayer party game, a puzzle game from the immortal John Hancock, and more. Liking helps spread the word of this channel, and subscribing gets these videos in your feed. Have fun!